So, what according to you is the right age that where we can leave our children to take the right decision for their life?
All parents need to understand importance to career counseling.
My parents forced me to like study for the government jobs or for the IIT thing at earlier stages, but I posed myself towards my interest, what I like to do.
Because you can't be successful in a career when you're feeling unhappy.
I think we need to train the parents first
Yes.
and then the students.
Yes. This is a generation which is much smarter than us and they're faster at learning.
At the age of 6 months, children have started scrolling YouTube and they know where to hit the skip button. They know how to switch the video. I am very much scared about the children and their future, how much they are using mobile phones, the radiation of the mobile phone, how that is impacting the children's life.
You have hundreds and thousands of friends on your Instagram and your Facebook, but when you really need a friend in real life,
You're alone.
you're alone. Thank you, Rishi, for having me on the show. First, I must say, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy every moment of my conversation with you. Well, as an educator, I would say yes, I'm a seasoned educator because I started my career with teaching way back, taught for 18 years as a classroom teacher and a head of department in a leading convent in Delhi, Matade. Went on to become a vice principal with APJ School Noida. Subsequently, I joined GD Goenka Group as principal for 6.5 years, followed by a tenure of 2.5 years with a residential school in Dehradun, Kasiga, followed by a stint with Podar International in Mumbai, and then came back to Delhi NCR to head GD Goenka Girls School as director. And my last assignment, of course, was director schools with the Jaipuria group. So it's been a colorful, very interesting journey where I've seen a lot of changes that have happened in the educational landscape. People have changed, students have changed, parents have changed, and schools have changed. I think the first most important thing is self assessment. As a person, as a young person, you need to be able to figure out what are your strengths and what is your aptitude and what are your interests. So it's very important. Let's say if I were to look at age wise chronologically, I would say from grade 8 upwards. Most children should be guided from grade 8 upwards to be able to decide what are the areas that interest them. Essentially, I feel there should be some kind of an assessment in grade 8 which is based on API. API is aptitude, personality, and interest. So, children should go through an API test. All children ideally should go through an API test, let's say in grade 8 upwards, and then particularly when they are in grade 10. Because grade 10 is a turning point when children transition to grades 11 and 12, which are school leaving classes. It is very important that they choose their subjects very judiciously, very carefully, because you must remember that grades 11 and 12 are a stepping stone to post secondary education. So, for an undergraduate degree, you should have studied something appropriate in grades 11 and 12. So, I really feel that in grade 10, particularly, and maybe also in grade 11, because sometimes children's interests evolve. So, it is very important that in grade 10 and in grade 11, there is some kind of introspection, there is some kind of self assessment where children are able to figure out what are the subjects that interest them, what is it that they are likely to be doing in post secondary education, which will lead to a smooth transition to a fruitful career. So, self assessment, as I said, and introspection. And all parents need to understand the essential, that is imperative that you are able to introspect, that children spend that kind of time with school counselors. And here I feel the need for very strong career advisory cells in schools or career counseling cells in schools. Unfortunately, as an educator, over a period of time, I've seen that the schools attach very little importance to career counseling. But I think it is not a peripheral function, it's a core function. And that is an advantage every school must provide to every young person. So every young person has to go through the cycle of self assessment, introspection, finding out what is it that interests them, what is their aptitude, and what is their interest, and what suits their personality. Because subsequently, when you go into a professional world, the professional world will be able to receive you well if you're able to leverage your strengths to your advantage. So I would say self assessment, introspection, finding out what is your aptitude, what is your personality like and what interests you. That is very, very significant for young people.
I just looked after what I am liking. My parents forced me to study for the government jobs or for the IIT thing at earlier stages. But I posed myself towards my interest, what I like to do. I haven't thought of anything that I will be doing some business or anything. But I was in the current situation that I just want to do whatever I like to do. And I think I'm happy today. And even my parents are happy today that whatever he is doing good.
Your interest and your attitude will
Right.
really determine your success in a career, because you can't be successful in a career when you're feeling unhappy. You know, when your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, when you discover many years hence that your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, you feel that all those years have been foiled and wasted. So it's very important to follow your heart. But at the same time, after you figured out what you're good at, you know, what is your personality and what interests you and what's your aptitude, to find the right kind of courses which will support all that you're interested in, and then to pursue those courses, ideally professional courses. Like you said, you are a social media influencer and you are in the field of social media and PR. I would say there are fantastic courses that are offered by some leading universities. So find out first what you're interested in and then look for those undergraduate programs that support your interest so that you can excel in what you do. Because today, most educational institutions, particularly institutions of higher learning, are very competitive, and they're offering state of the art courses to students who want to pursue some niche fields, which was not the way it was, let's say, about 40 years ago when I came into teaching. As you very rightly said, I think most parents were only interested in 3 or 4 careers. One is engineering, of course. There's chartered accountancy, there's law, and there's medicine. Those
Right.
are the most sought after courses. But today, I think the world has really opened out. It has really opened out. And most educational institutions of higher learning are cognizant of the fact that you need to give support to young people who are interested in multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary learning. So a whole world has opened out today to young people. All universities, all colleges are offering these courses, whether it's in India or overseas. Everybody is willing to offer, and I think they are only evolving over a period of time. Every year, I see them evolving to cater to the needs of the learners. I think the market is now starting to understand the need of the learner, who's the most important stakeholder, and we must take advantage of that.
Right. So earlier, when I was in school, I remember this. Like when a new teacher comes to this class, okay, the first question he asks about the introduction, that who you are and what you want to be. So at my time, there were only 3, 4 professions that children used to speak. One of them is doctor, one of them is engineer, and third one is teacher. And somehow, there were some people who were saying that I want to pursue law, and there was no career option apart from this.
Yes.
I earned this, that I want to do this. No one can force me to do anything else.
Absolutely.
Even I was the dumbest child for my parents at that point of time, but now they are happy.
Nothing actually, you know, when you found your calling in life, so to say, when we are not randomly rushing into a career, when you've really found your calling in life, the kind of effort that you put in to promote your own career, to promote your own prospects, is that much more. And you are going to succeed. You're very likely to succeed. And let me tell you, at the end of the day, whatever parents, you know, whatever their views may be quite different or diverse or different from yours, but really nothing succeeds like success. And success is always the outcome of passion. Because if you don't bring passion to your profession, then you're not likely to succeed, right? Because you can't live out somebody else's dream.
Right.
Okay, it's important that we do not carry the burden of our parents' aspirations. I would say, as an educator and as a parent, and I've personally experienced, particularly with my older child, I've experienced that she was not willing to carry the burden of my choices and my dreams for her. And so she chose a career in marketing communication opposed to a career in hardcore finance, which I thought was very, very conducive to growth at that time. But she chose that, and she chose to be a biker because she thought that was something after her own heart, and she succeeded immensely in her career today. And probably this is a learning that has come to me as a parent, that we need to allow children the freedom to live their own
This is very
dreams.
important these days.
Because we are all souls on a journey, and I'm sure we'll all find our own trajectory someday. I would say parents also have evolved. Like I said, for me as a parent, what I was probably, say, 30 years ago, I'm not what I was 30 years ago. I'm willing to accept the choices that my children want to make. At the same time, I also realize that it's very important to allow to be the wind beneath the children's wings, but you cannot determine the direction in which they are going to fly, because they have to find their own career path. Having said that, it is important to make them aware of the choices that are there, but ultimately let them decide what is it that they want to do with their lives, because unless they're living out their own dream, they're not going to succeed. If they're going to live out your dream, it's very unlikely that they will succeed, because at the end of the day, what brings you gratification also brings you money, brings you the kind of fame and satisfaction that you desire, is really going to determine where you're going to reach in a few years. Because essentially, you will not have a passion for a career unless you feel strongly about the career that you're pursuing. Another thing I would say, in our day and time, we were scared. I would say we were very apprehensive about transitioning from one career to another. Today, I find that young people are much bolder. They're willing to take a risk. And when you're a risk taker, I think you are definitely going to succeed, because I've seen it in my own children's lives. I've seen, as I said, in my own older child's life, when she transitioned from one profession to another and yet to another till she found her own niche. I think I quite appreciate the fact that she was willing to take chances. But in our time, we were not willing to take chances. And today, parents have the wherewithal to allow children to take chances, because in our day and time, I think if you've gotten into a profession and sometimes randomly you stuck it out, and you then continue to persist in that profession for years on end. Today, I think people are able to move from transition from one profession to another quite effortlessly, and parents continue to support these choices. And I think that's the change that has come about. The other thing is, we are no longer stuck on engineering and medicine and law and so on and so forth, because we know that a lot of people have gone out there, taken unconventional choices, and have succeeded in those unconventional choices. So everything which was conventional is now shelved, because people are happy to experiment and prove that you can succeed even if you think out of the box. So parents are more receptive, they are more intelligent, and they're more supportive now compared to our day and time.
Very right. So what according to you is the right age that where we can leave our children to take the right decision for their life?
Life is a matter of endless choices.
No, in terms of career, I was asking.
Yeah. I would say there is probably children need, as I said, a little hand holding in the initial years, say from grade 8 to 11. They definitely need a little bit of hand holding, because you need to figure out what is it that interests you, like I said, your aptitude and your personality. So let's assist them in that self-assessment and introspection. After that, definitely they will choose subjects that will push them towards a career that they may want to pursue. Having said that, I think 18 and beyond, I would say most young people are able to find out what is it that they want to do with their
So
lives.
till the time actually they have decided that they are about to switch to the like medical career, or as in like in class 10th, they were in the age of like somewhere 15.
Yeah, around 15.
And after that, they have to opt the option that they want to become a CA, they want to pursue arts, or they want to go for the medical thing, or they want to become an engineer. So what is that confusion? Please solve it.
There is no confusion, because after 10th...
No, like when can we make our children free?
That's what I said. Once they've entered into an undergraduate program, I think they are more mature to be able to determine.
But by that time, they have actually opted some
That's all right, because
Okay.
even after an undergraduate program, there are people Let me tell you, there are people who have done engineering and have chosen not to go into the field which is related to engineering and may shift to management. All right, there are people who have done management and may decide, I don't want to stay in this, I'd rather do media. There are people who have been in corporate jobs and have shifted to writing as a full time career and have become authors. So life is about perpetual change. So you can't really say at what point of time you will decide that you want to transition from one profession to another. So, however, having said that, I think 18 and beyond, you're broadly able to figure out what is it that you want to do with your life. But having said that, people will still continue to opt for changes.
So we can say that after 12 they can decide their career.
Yes. Yes.
But at the age we are in, we can switch our careers. But the child who is in his 15 to 18, he's like very much confused that what to do, what not to do. Am I taking the right decision? Should I do this? What I should not do?
Yeah. So
Right.
that's what I said that in every school, as I told you, schools don't realize the importance of
Counseling.
advisory cells, we call them. Now, when I say career advisory cells, let me take you through a quick journey of how a career advisory cell should function. Because I've personally established very strong career advisory cells in an international school that I headed as a director, and also in the schools that Jaipuria schools that I've headed. So let me tell you, there is a very well chalked out plan. Let's say in grade 8, all children in grade 8 will go through an API test or a RISEC test, which is in-house, which is essentially to determine the aptitude, personality and interest. Grade 9 upwards, even in grade 9, you may go through an API test. Further, then when the children move to grade 10, you should go through a psychometric test, which should be professionally done, which should not be in-house. A good psychometric test which gives you a very elaborate diagnostic report of your skills and also your inclination, your aptitude, your interests, your personality, and what are the different professions which are aligned with each of these things. For example, if you're an excellent communicator, then you may do very well probably in media, you may do very well in law. If you have logical thinking, you may do very well in law. If you have an analytical bent of mind, you may do very well, let's say, in engineering. If you're compassionate and analytical, you may do very well. And if you have a tendency to do math, numeracy skills are strong, then you may do very well again in engineering or other related fields. Right? If you're good with your computing skills are strong, you may do very well in careers which are now associated with technology and AI. So all these, this professional psychometric test which is administered, which gives you a very elaborate report, will throw light on every facet of your personality and also the possibilities of what careers you could pursue, career 1, 2 and 3, and then will also align it with the different universities and institutions that offer undergraduate or postgraduate courses, undergraduate courses essentially after school, where you could seek enrollment. So this psychometric test is very important in grade 10. The test is also very important to help you to determine what is it that you should be studying in grade 11 and 12. Let's say if I have an inclination for humanities, if I'm a people's person, I should be taking language and literature and I should be doing humanities subjects, right? So it'll help you to determine what stream to go for or what subjects to study. However, let me tell you that now schools have evolved so much, they don't demarcate your subjects into clear streams. You can be studying fine arts with finance and you can be studying chemistry with economics. So it's all right. But these tests will help you to determine what subjects you should be taking. And then further, after grade 11, let's say in grade 12, then you probably enhance the kind of advisory services that you give to the children. And here you start in grade 9, 10, 11 and 12, you also help children to build their profiles. Do remember that education is no longer about marks, it goes beyond marks. So you need to start building your profile. So in grade 9 upwards, all career advisory cells in all schools. And my strong recommendation is every educator, principal, management must treat a career advisor or a career counselor at par with any other senior teacher. In fact, more important so. Because these are the people who will help you to determine what you want to do after your school. So after you have figured out, you figured out how you want to project yourself in grade 9, start building your profile. Now, when I say start building your profile, children should be engaged in a number of co-scholastic activities. Do remember that scholastic subjects or academic subjects will only help you to get marks. But co-scholastic activities, if I were to talk about co-scholastics, I would say about MUNs, that's Model United Nations. Children indulge in TED Talks. They listen to a lot of TED Talks, and a lot of children speak at TED Talks. Similarly, internship programs. I think all children should go for internships even in small companies, because that gives you a flavor of a real life career. Job shadowing. So when you go for internship, shadow a CEO or somebody senior in the company, because that will help you to get a feel of, let's say you want to be a chartered accountant, so go to a financial firm and shadow somebody who's senior, because you're going to learn the skills that that person has put into practice to succeed in that career. So building a strong profile, profiling is very important. Giving children exposure to different universities or institutions that offer different courses, whether from India or from overseas. So we need to have different university visits and university fairs or college fairs where children can interact directly with officials from a university or a college and understand what are the courses that are being offered by these colleges. So all that should become a part of any good institutions, I would say, effort to assist children and handhold them, because our responsibility as educators is not just to produce good board results. Our responsibility goes much, much beyond
Beyond
that.
that.
You'll be surprised to know that the other day, when one of these vendors for tests, when I was at some gathering of educators, he wanted to do some kind of fingerprint analysis. Your fingerprint analysis will also give you a very clear indicator of your personality. So there is absolutely no harm, because when
That's
you
so.
do that, your fingerprint profiling, you're able to find out your strengths and your weaknesses. And I must say, the last one that I did was very, very accurate. And it's really in the face. It's important to, at any age, why should I not? Now, for example, I think at my age, I'm probably trying to reinvent myself. Now, if I need to reinvent myself, I also need to know there may be latent strengths that I'm completely unaware of, because I have been engaged in a certain set of activities as a professional. Yeah. So I probably there are some inherent strengths that I am not aware of.
So do
Quite
we have some
surprising.
open agencies?
You
Like
have
in
you have
small cities, we don't have such
No, there are professionals who conduct these tests. That has to be done in person, because you have to give your fingerprints for somebody to analyze. See, for children to really understand the nuances of a career, it is very important that you have something called a vestibule training. A vestibule training is, putting a person on the job floor and getting them to try out some of the, tasks which are associated with a certain profession or a job. Because unless you've been in a real situation and you have actually accomplished a set of tasks which are associated with a certain career, you will never really know whether you're going to enjoy this kind of career or not. So there, I think internships come in very handy. One, I think internships allow you to experience what a particular career is like, what is the professional environment that is associated with a particular career. Let's say you're going into a chartered accountancy firm. You want to be a CA and you want to go into a CA firm. It's very important to go into a CA's office to see how work is done on a day-to-day basis and to be engaged in small tasks. Two, that exercise will help to enhance your sense of self esteem and will definitely boost your confidence and your skills. Three, you will understand with clarity if this is actually what you want to do, or is it something that you imagined was very interesting but is not really so, and you don't look at it as a long time career, like long term career. So you need to go into, as I said, into the trenches. You cannot, by looking at something from a distance, you cannot really determine whether or not that is going to be your long term commitment. So you would want to marry somebody, you should date them for some time. Similarly, I think you should date the careers that you want to go into. So internships come in handy. And second, as I said, job shadowing is very important, because in job shadowing, the person who you're shadowing would be more than happy. They're quite happy. Very senior people are quite happy. The CEOs are very happy to mentor young people. This is also a part of their CSR initiative. So most companies are very happy to have these young interns who can shadow senior people, because I think very senior people are happy to impart that kind of knowledge, the real life knowledge that they have accumulated through their experiences in a particular field. So job shadowing, I think, is very, very important, and we must encourage more and more kids to go into the industry. No child should be pushed into a school before the age of 3, because it's a very tender age. Their muscles are not fully developed, their motor skills are not so strong. Sometimes they may not be toilet trained. So it's very important that you don't push your children into a formal school setup before the age of 3. However, having said that, there are preschools where I think which provide a certain structure, and the hours are very few, which allow children to just play for an hour or two with other children and then come back home. That's all right. But no child should go into a formal school before the age of 3. And all children should go to grade 1. Any child who enters grade 1 should at least be 6 years of age. The other thing is, over a period of time now, with national education policy, a lot has changed in the educational landscape. Education is not rigid. It does not emphasize on rote learning at all. All right. In fact, till the child is the age of 6, they should not be forced to write. The emphasis should more be on
Verbal
playway
things.
method. Yeah, play is should be is has become a play, free play particularly, has become a very important part of educational pedagogy. So in the early years, playway methods are being used. Different kind of curricula have come in. Theme based curricula has come in, that helps children to express themselves without the stress of rote learning, writing, memorizing. So I think now early education has become a very joyful experience for most learners, and for most parents also. Parents understand that we do not have to force our children into a regimented system. It's more flexible, fewer hours, but very joyful hours that are spent in school, and play has become a very important part of educational pedagogy. So now things have changed so completely, and parents also understand. However, as I said, no parent should look at formal schooling. In fact, there is no possibility of sending your school into a formal school before the age of 3, because that's not allowed anymore according to the NEP norms. See, goal setting is very important for every individual, whether young or even older. So, important to teach children the art of goal setting. Now, when I say goal setting, there are two kinds of goals. There are short term goals and there are long term goals. So, people need to plan their lives. Very young children cannot plan. For them, goal setting has to be done by parents. But as children grow older, we should teach them the art of goal setting, short term goals. How do I see myself 5 years from now? Unless you have charted out a roadmap, there will not be clarity on how to move forward. And then you would have moved forward randomly, and at the end of the day, it's going to lead to a lot of frustration. So, we must teach children the art of goal setting, and goals should be such that they're smart goals. There are the goals which are measurable, which are achievable, all right, which are very clear targets. So short term goals for 5 years, and then long term goals, and then both must be aligned, because it's very important in order to lay down a roadmap for your life. People should focus on goals, and people should learn the art of goal setting, and children should be taught early. As early, I would say, maybe a grade, like I said, grade 8 upwards or 9 upwards. So short term goals, how do I see myself in 5 years from now? So if I want to be in this particular college, let's say I'm in grade 8 today, if I want to be in this particular college, what is it that I need to do in the next 5 years to get to this college of my choice and a course of my choice? And similarly, parents should also plan effectively. Ideally, parents should plan. A lot of us don't plan, and I think that leads to a lot of unhappiness, frustration, uh, I would say anger. And in retrospect, when you look back, you say, I wish I'd planned better. So planning is the key to success. That goes. However, having said that, I'm not saying that your plans will go as you would want them to. There's always a possibility that there may be digressions, but then those improvisations are okay. But your basic plan should be in place.
Do you love to point something about the self study at the age when people are in their 11th or 12th grade? In the morning time they used to have their school, and in the evening time they used to have their coaching centers. So a kid is, I think they're more of pissed off in between their coachings and their schools. So how come the self study plays the roles in a success of a student,
See,
and how can we solve this issue?
our parents, most parents, in fact, they decide that children have to go to school, and then post that they need to go for their coaching.
Coaching as well.
And there are others who only opt for schools as dummy schools. Their focus is only on coaching. Right?
Then why are they sending
So
them to
particularly those many students who are appearing for JEE and NEET.
schools? Yes.
Now, these children do not go to, they may be enrolled in a regular school. And I can vouch for that, having headed large schools as director. I know that a lot of children do not turn up in school, and there is mass absenteeism. As schools, we need to ensure that children come to schools, that the schools are not treated as dummy schools. It is unfortunate that a lot of parents also are party to this, because they're okay with children not attending the school and going for coaching. They're paying for the school, but the school is only a dummy school. Children are going for coaching, and there are yet others who will go to real dummy schools. When I say real dummy schools, these are schools which are showing your enrollment on paper, but actually they are only running coaching classes. All right, children never really attend these schools. This is unfortunate, because this kind of a system does not allow children to enjoy their school days. Because school is not just about studies, school is much more. School is about it's about building your social skills, your ability to collaborate with others. It's about adapting to different kinds of people. And I think you're deprived of all that. It's about exploring different facets of your personality. You could be enjoying theatre, sport, art, visual art. I think such students are deprived of all those beautiful experiences, because their parents have decided that these 2 years must only be dedicated to coaching. And it is also very painful to see when some of these children don't make it to, let us say, the IITs, or other esteemed institutions, NITs. A lot of them may even end up harming themselves. We've heard of children, of suicides. We've heard of a lot of children, ending their lives because they have not been able to meet parental expectation. So that, I think, is very painful, and we as adults need to understand that why is it that the younger generation must carry the burden of our dreams, of our unfulfilled dreams, which we do. Because I was not able to go to a certain IIT, my son or my daughter must attend the IIT. I could not go to a particular college of repute, my son, or I couldn't study abroad, my son or my daughter must do it. Because we make children carry the burden of our dreams, and often it ends in disaster. I would still say, let's treasure our children for what they are. It's okay to prepare them for these careers, but please allow them some time to enjoy these crucial, beautiful years of their life, which are not going to come back ever. These are moments or years to be treasured. And these are years where you accumulate treasured memories with friends. So let us not deprive our children. And I think, as ambitious parents who want successful children, we are perpetually depriving our children of all this. Children.
I think we need to train the parents first,
Yes.
and then the students,
Yes.
and
Because.
then their children's.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to speak something to the parents whose children are about to pursue their IIT careers or the medical career?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's good to be ambitious as a parent. It's good to envisage a career where your child is going to be successful. But please Let us treasure our children for what they are. But I think more important than that, as parents, it is very, very significant that you teach your children the ability to cope with failure. That is something we never teach our children. The tenacity and the resilience. We never teach our children resilience. Now, since we do not teach our children resilience, a lot of children are not able to cope with failure, and they are not able to understand how to deal with failure when they're confronted with failure, when they don't succeed in getting into a university or a college or an IIT or an IIM of their choice. So it leads to depression, it leads to a lot of self harm sometimes, and there is, as I said, a loss of precious lives. So it's more important than anything else is to teach young people that failure is not the end of the road. Failure is only an indicator that you need to change direction.
Especially when we talk about the masters, students used to go abroad and want to settle there only. So can we have something in India?
I would say studying in India or overseas is a matter of choice and also affordability, right? So, if I would say that if you can look for a good institution in India, today there are some very good education institutions in India which are at par with the best in the world. But having said that, as I said, each to his or her own. Parents and children need to sit down and determine where a child, what should be the educational destination in terms of number one, what are the aspirations of the child? Number two, what kind of entry or admission requirements are there in India and overseas? Three, and most important, what is the cost factor? Is the education affordable or not affordable? Because overseas education is definitely far more expensive than studying in India. So ideally, I think it, as I said, it varies from individual to individual. You really need to figure out what kind of career are you looking at. Are you looking at the possibility of coming back and taking over your parents' business, and you want to hone your skills in a university overseas? Or do you want to do it in India and you only want to specialize probably at a later stage, and you go for a postgraduate study? Also, when you go and study abroad, you, as I said, you have to look at the admission entry requirements, the courses that are being offered, the different destinations, the culture of a particular country where you may want to study, also the scholarship opportunities. Because a lot of children should go for bursaries and scholarships, not because they cannot afford, but I think they should be able to support their own education to some degree, even if their parent can afford to send them overseas. But it really varies from individual to individual. India has come of age. I think India is doing great. There's some great institutions in India that are offering education that, as I said, is at par with the best in the world. So let us look at our own country first, because, as I said, because there are a lot of private players now in education, a lot of private institutions in education. It's not just government supported, even government supported institutions are doing a fantastic job. But having said that, there are a lot of private colleges and universities here which offer a state of the art infrastructure, the best faculty that may have studied abroad or may have studied in some good institutions in India, and the best resources. So why not take advantage of that?
Ma'am, do you I will love to hear from you that how this digital education is different from the formal education, and which one is better for a
Right.
child who is at the age of at the early stages of his life. So
Early stages of life, definitely up to grade 12, everyone should go to a real school. As I said, a real school is not just about academic achievement. A real school goes much beyond that. It's about building your entire personality. So it's about acquiring skills, the skills of critical thinking, the skills of communication, which can only happen when you're you're in and around people, when you have people around you. Skills of collaboration, when you learn to work with others. You can never, those skills are very important and very, very critical for you to succeed in life. So every child should go to a real school. When we talk about distance education, which happens virtually, or blended education, blended teaching learning, where you may have some classes in a real classroom and the others can be virtual. That can happen probably at the undergraduate level and beyond. But I would say up to grade 12, every child should go to a school and spend time within the walls of a school. Just yesterday, in fact, I was at Economic Times. We were talking about reskilling and upskilling of teachers. But I think upskilling and reskilling, the ability to unlearn what you would have learned years back, which has now become obsolete and needs to be replaced by a new set of skills, is very important. And more so, Payal, because I think in when if you want to continue to survive and thrive, both. I'm not just talking about surviving, but if you need to thrive, you need to rebuild and relearn and continue to upskill yourself. That's very important. And there is really no age for learning. I'm really firmly of the belief that there is no age for learning. For example, like I did share with you that at this age, I'm learning a lot of skills in I would say IT, because those are skills, digital literacy, which probably was not something that people like us learned a few years ago. But every single day, because we know we are now in a day and age where AI is playing such a crucial role in shaping
Right.
our lives and more so in shaping education. We are talking about students using ChatGPT. So, unless we as educators have upskilled ourselves, how do we contribute to student success? We cannot, because we have become, will become obsolete and outdated completely. And do remember that children are fantastic and fast learners. I was very happy to hear a school head yesterday who said that children are much smarter than us. It's very rare that you find a school head saying that. But I really do believe that children are, this is a generation which is much smarter than us, and they're faster at learning.
At the age of
So,
6 months, people, children have
yes,
started
yeah,
scrolling YouTube,
yes.
and
So
they know
I
where
think,
to hit the skip button. They
yes,
know how to switch the
yes,
video.
yes.
At the age of 6 months, I have
Yeah.
experienced this.
Yeah, because it's their when we use the term digital natives, I know it sounds very cliched, but it is the truth. They're because they've been exposed to digitization at a very early age. They're exposed to all kinds of gadgetry at a very early age. So adapting to that is it just comes to them very naturally because they're growing with it. We have seen it now. We have come from a generation which started with a black and white television and then went to color television and then various other gadgets.
Right.
So for these children, that is unimaginable. If we were to show our children something like a VCD or whatever it is, they'd wonder what this is.
And but I am very much scared about the children's and their future. How much they're using mobile phones, the radiation of the mobile phone, how that's impacting the children's life.
Definitely, the usage we must understand as parents. First, we need to learn. I think most of us, the first thing we do early morning is we look at our cell phones to see how many WhatsApp messages are there for me, right? Even before you started, you had your cup of tea. I think majority of us start our day with that.
The
If we have
notifications.
not ingrained a certain discipline, if we have allowed our mobile phones and other gadgets to direct our lives, how can we expect children not to do that? So first thing first, I think we need to understand that children have to be allowed only a certain degree of access to gadgets and mobile phones or smartphones. Number two, I think most mothers will need to understand that mobile phones are not to be used as babysitters, because most mothers will hand over a mobile phone to a child and get on with their work
Just to be free.
because it plays a very good babysitter. Once the child is engaged with the phone, the mother can carry on with her work and the child continues to play with the phone. As you said, we need to understand, comprehend, and ensure that children are not affected by the radiation which is emitted from such gadgets, from such phones or such gadgets. Fourth is that children who are perpetually with a cell phone or smartphones, uh, a lot of them just lead digital lives, because these children, in fact, become alienated, they isolate themselves because their lives are confined to Instagram and how many likes you have. or to Facebook or various other social media platforms. These children are so engaged with that they have, in fact, they don't even feel the need to socialize. Result is, after a certain point of time, they suffer from social anxiety. A lot of these children.
Depression is one of
Yes.
them.
Social anxiety. They're
Things.
not able to adapt to a real life situation where you have people around you because you haven't been interacting with real people. You've only been interacting with the digital avatars of people, right?
Digital
Yeah,
appreciations.
and digital friends. So you are not able to interact with real people. As a result, there is social anxiety, and a lot of them, I find that a lot of young people are not able to relate to others. They would rather spend time with their phones and their laptops because they're quite happy to live in this make believe world, which is not real. Okay, you may have hundreds and thousands of friends on your Instagram and your Facebook, but when you really need a friend in real life, is there
You're
anybody
alone.
there? You're alone, right? Actually, it's something to think about. It's painful, and we are responsible because some of us even take pride. That look at my son and look at my daughter.
Like if a child is having his studies on his phone or his laptop, there are n number of other distractions while he's live, while he's online. So like how can we like help out of this?
See, we children will have a lot of young people will have a natural tendency to confine themselves to their phones and their laptops and social handles where may have certain number of followers. And when you see the number of followers and admirers dwindling, it can lead to a lot of psychological issues. We need to get young people to understand that they may spend only a certain amount of time on these gadgets, that they need to go out, indulge in some outdoor activity where you can come across people of your own age, interact with people of your own age, and enjoy those moments with your peers. The importance of real peers is very, it has to be dinned into the heads of young people. And you should never allow them, absolutely unrestricted time. You have to educate them. As they grow older, you can only talk to them as friends. You cannot force your opinions on them. But you definitely need to get them to see the advantage of interacting with real people rather than only with the digital avatars of people.
I know a girl who is from Gurugram. Okay, she like she become overweight, and she was not able to carry herself. Okay, she had to shift back to her hometown. And suddenly what happened, her followers, she started working on herself. Okay, she had started losing weight, she's getting fitter, she's getting better. Okay, and at the same time she was having 1,80,000 followers on Instagram. And because of the thing, she started getting their followers down. Okay, as she has started working on herself. Okay, and after that she left doing it. She left working on herself, that people are accepting me fat and I love to be
See?
like this. She was crying in front of me that I am losing my followers, Rishi. Please help me out. I said, let it be. You can build it again. You can build a different profile.
Yeah.
Okay? Life is important.
Yes.
Life is important. Just focus on yourself. You will get better.
Yes.
You can
yes.
like create everything again.
Right. Right.
Someone was loving you when you were fat. They will love your transition as well. There will be a
People
set
will
of
love you
audience.
for what you are, whether you're fat
Yes.
or slim.
Social media is actually impacting people's life this way. It was not like, I was not expecting this.
Yeah. I think life is probably the greatest gift of God. And even one day of life is more precious than any other treasure. Parents need to understand also that your children are to be loved unconditionally. That it is a responsibility as parents. We should not love our children simply because they have succeeded in their chosen career, or they've carved out a niche for themselves in the world. I think as parents, it is a responsibility to love children unconditionally without taking into consideration whether or not they have succeeded, they have done well academically, whether they have done well in their co scholastic activities. It is important that we love unconditionally. That is first thing first. And if you love unconditionally, children can sense that they are treasured. And when people are treasured, they're bound to perform better. Their performance levels are bound to get enhanced. So let us, as parents, not, as I said, let the children not carry the burden of your dreams. And here I'd like to quote some lines of Khalil Gibran, who says, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They are born of you, but they're not yours."